Hello, everyone. This is JPL, and today I'm joined with,
Matthew here.
and we are podcasting in brackets. Anyway, Matthew, video games. Do you like video games?
Yeah, I like video games.
Yeah, I think I like them too.
Yeah,
But
let's
anyway,
talk about them.
let's talk about them. Anyway, we did a podcast talking about our favorite video games a while back ago. Do you remember that one?
I have some vague memories of that, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, today we want to talk about video game trailers, our top five favorite video game trailers that come out. You like video game trailers, do you?
Yeah. Let me know which games to play and which ones to skip, so
Yeah. Honestly, just whenever the gaming conventions like E3 or stuff happens, it's one of my favorite times of year. It's just getting all those game trailers, finding out what's cool, what's lame,
yeah.
what's coming up, the game you're all looking forward to. And yeah, for this list that we have here, um, we have a bunch of lists of game trailers that caught our eyes. These are some of my favorite game trailers. I rewatch them all the time because I love them. For specifically for me, I put the standards of for choosing this list to have cinematic game trailers. These are the typically these are the official reveals, the first time reveals that the games are announced. Oftentimes they'll come with the cinematic game trailers, and like these look the coolest. Like they spend the most money on making these cool looking graphics that are like mini movies that take place in about 3 4 minutes, and it's like cool to see. And yeah, why don't we get started, Matthew? You have a different system than I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I didn't limit myself to quite that extent. I did more general which trailers kind of grab my attention and which ones I return to over and over.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
maybe
my
one day we can take a look at just gameplay reveals. But
yeah.
that's later down the line. But yeah, let's start with our number five with you, Matt.
Yeah, so my number 5 is the the official title of this is the coming to Nintendo Switch in 2021 trailer for Shin Megami Tensei 5. It was released in July 20 of 2020, and it's not the first look we got at the game, but it's the sort of reminder that the game was coming out. The game was announced along with the Nintendo Switch, but it took a while to sort of be developed. And this was kind of the reveal trailer of what the game was actually going to be about. It's a rather simple trailer. It doesn't reveal much. There isn't any gameplay or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
it just introduces you to this weird new post-apocalyptic world of angels and demons. And I think my favorite thing about this is the sound design, the soundtrack, and then the audio. It's a Japanese voice track with subtitles, and it has such like an epic feeling. Um, and it was a great sort of start to this marketing campaign for this game. I should say each of my trailers, the one restriction I did put is that they're all trailers for games that I have played enough of to say if the game lives up to the hype or not.
Mm-hmm.
And this one really lived up to the hype for me. I considered one of the later trailers putting it on this list, but I think this first trailer just it's short, it's to the point, and it really gets you hyped for what the game has in store.
Yeah. For when I chose trailers, I didn't care if the game was bad or not. As long as the initial trailer caught my attention, I put it. But yeah, this trailer that you showed was a trailer. I don't know if it caught my attention as well because I have a different set of likes and tastes. So I wouldn't say that this was my favorite look. And this is for the Nintendo Switch exclusively.
I believe they might be porting it eventually to other systems, but yeah,
Mm.
it's a Nintendo Switch exclusive to start out. The series has kind of jumped from different consoles, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's an interesting series, and this trailer got me excited for. the game, and I played a decent chunk of it. I haven't finished it because it's quite the large game, but yeah, the trailer really sets up a really good game.
And you say that the game with what you played so far is a good game?
Yeah, it's a if you enjoy turn-based RPGs, it's challenging but a lot of fun.
All right. Any final thoughts on this one?
Go and play the game. It's and check out this trailer for yourself. It does a good job establishing the whole vibe of the game.
All right. Moving on to my number 5 is I don't know if this is the reveal trailer, but it's the cinematic trailer for the DC Universe Online um, game that they were doing. And it's pretty much shows off like this battlefield. This is we see our heroes lose, and then we find out a little bit of I think the what do you call it? The concept of the game?
Yeah.
Or the main story plot. And like, yeah, I saw this when it first came out, and I thought it was the coolest looking thing ever. It's like this was the closest thing at my point of seeing the Justice League and a close to live action looking thing. And it was just the coolest thing ever. It has, I mean, I will say that character designs have aged a bit. Things aren't the best looking, but it was still cool enough to capture my attention. It had an interesting story behind it, and yeah, I can't really say that this trailer really lives up to the game itself, because the game itself is a bit different. It's more of like an online an RPG.
Yeah, it's I think it's an MMORPG.
Yeah, which they can't have these kind of graphics. And the gameplay is not certainly this style, but with cinematics you get these cool little movies, and that's why I chose this one, because it's one of the first cinematic game trailers that I've seen that I remember growing up with. So yeah.
Yeah, this is one I also saw at a younger age. Definitely of its time. I think it has sort of that dark aesthetic that kind of became associated with DC. And then it's also, I think it's kind of funny that all of the dudes in this video are super buff, including Joker. I don't know if that's ever really been a thing in the comics. And Superman has a 5 o'clock shadow, and it's very grim and dark. Reminded me a bit of Injustice as well.
Yeah,
But
I will say they had similar designs.
Yeah, it does a great job sort of getting you hooked into sort of the concept of the game
and the world itself.
Yeah, and I remember it caused quite a bit of buzz online when it came out, having this very well designed trailer that also then shows the Justice League failing, and there's some that hooks you into a game which I played a little bit of it. I basically just ran around the world and didn't do anything. I wasn't too impressed with it, but it was fun in its own way.
Yeah. I haven't played it, but like most games that I see, I watched gameplay of. So I wasn't really impressed with the small bit of gameplay that I saw. That really captured my attention. Although my taste of games have changed since first seeing this, but still, I don't have much else to say about this one. And if you have anything else to say, we can move on.
Yeah, my number 4 trailer is a pretty recent one. This one came out in June 10 of 2021 for what might be probably one of the most anticipated games of all time. That game is Elden Ring, and this trailer is the official gameplay reveal. And like all FromSoft games, it has a really interesting trailer that's kind of cryptic. It kind of makes you wonder, like, what's going on here? But it's sort of shows off the world and then kind of a bit of the combat and some of the enemies you'll be facing, a few of the early bosses. And it just does a great job communicating this epic scale that everything is on. The game is a massive open world game that lets you go pretty much anywhere you want from the very beginning, and you're fighting these huge bosses, and it's very difficult but very rewarding. I've in the last few months that it's been out, I've played at least 100 hours of the game, and this trailer always gets me hyped to play more.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why this was the most anticipated game?
There's several reasons. So it's a from Software, which they developed Dark Souls and Sekiro and Bloodborne, and
I
they have
see.
this very strong reputation in the gaming community. And this was their first game in a few years. And it's the concept for the game grabbed a lot of people, sort of this like epic fantasy. It's the first From Software game to be an open world game, so there was a lot of expectation there, and the world itself is created by George R. R. Martin, who of course wrote
Ah,
Game of Thrones. He didn't write the actual story, but he wrote a lot of the backstory and designed a lot of, well, not designed, but sort of did a lot of the world building, which then the From Software built upon to create this story. So it's kind of a convergence of all of these things. And unlike a lot of games that get so much hype, Elden Ring really lives up to it and maybe even surpasses it. So yeah, it's such a great trailer. And then the best part about it is that the game is even better than the trailer.
okay. Well, I didn't really understand the hype when this thing first came out, because to me it just looked like almost every other fantasy game that had come out. So I had no idea, like, oh, why is this so special? It just looks like everything else I've seen. So I guess that context does give it a little bit more weight. But I still don't know if I'm really interested in fantasy games, as most of my stuff is non-fantasy. But still some cool design stuff that they showed here.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it is once you played a FromSoft game, you kind of get the appeal a bit more. They're kind of the definitive fantasy games right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Okay. I don't have much else to say about this, do you?
Yeah, that's I think I've said my piece about it.
All right. So then moving on to my number 4 is my number 4 is the Force Unleashed 2, the E3 trailer from 2010. This is the cinematic where Starkiller escapes from prison and decimates a bunch of stormtrooper stuff. Um, I remember this coming out and being like really cool. I wasn't really excited for the game itself because I don't love the story of these two games. I feel that the character is a little bit overpowered, but I can't deny that this cinematic was just pleasing to watch him chop down stormtroopers. You get to see how a force user can look scary in the dark. Um, this was, of course, the pre-Darth Vader scene of igniting the lightsaber in the darkness and hiding and chopping off his enemies, and the door scene. But yeah, I just really appreciate this cool idea here. The first game, the character had one lightsaber. Here, he had two, which excited me as a kid. It's like, two lightsabers, so cool. Um, and just seeing all these new character designs, that's like, so cool, blowing up these characters, slicing them up. The game itself didn't really live up to the intrigue of the trailer, but it was still really cool to see.
Yeah, I remember this trailer as well. It reminds me a lot of the DC Universe Online trailer. It has sort of a similar angsty, dark, violent
Came out the same
vibe.
year as well.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of what video games were at the time expected to be, is sort of this power fantasy, and this does a good job selling that
Mm-hmm.
within the Star Wars universe. Yeah, it's a fun little trailer. I think I kind of agree with you that maybe the main character seems a bit overpowered in the Star Wars sort of universe, but I think as a video game character, you want that.
Right. I mean, here he vaporizes stormtroopers with the Force.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd one in context of the whole series.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, so some of it is when you think about it too much, like he holds his lightsabers backhanded, which
Like Ahsoka, of course.
yeah, which looks cool in the trailer, but when you think about it too much, you're realizing, oh, he's probably stabbing himself in the back all the time, just the way he's holding those. But yeah, this does. I have technically played this, in that I played the DS port for a few levels, but that's very different from the actual console version. So I don't really know how this compares to the actual game.
I've only ever played the demo that back when stores like Walmart and Target let you play demos. They had this one and it was like cool to see, but it was like I had no idea what I was doing. So, but yeah, I like games with a story, and this one had a weird one, but
Yeah,
it was still a game. It was cool to see,
yeah,
but yeah, like I said, the trailer was cool, and that was really the main thing I liked about it.
yeah.
All right, moving
So
on to
yeah,
number 3.
yeah. My number three is sort of a very different trailer, and it is the Senua trailer for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It came out in 2016. And it's a very simple trailer. It's basically just a cutscene from the game, from about the midpoint of the game. And what's really special about this trailer is how it shows off the design of the game, specifically the sound design. The idea of the game is you play as Senua, who has this unspecified mental illness where she hears voices. So throughout the gameplay itself, you will hear those voices in your headphones, and it's they'll be whispering little things, or like unintelligible things, or sometimes they'll give you a hint for something in game or in combat. They'll say things like "watch out" or "behind you," but then they'll also say, "I don't think we can do this," or we're not doing too well." And it's kind of a constant sort of fog in your brain as you're playing this game, and it really helps the game stand out a lot. And this trailer uses that, kind of shows it off. You hear different voices, and they're all saying different things. And it also introduces the main story of the game, which is Senua is a warrior who's going into hell to sort of resurrect her lover, um, and save him, and she's encountering these Norse gods as she's going along, and these creatures. But it's also more of a story driven game, with a lot of puzzles, which really shows off just how cool the sound design of the game works.
Yeah, just from the trailer, the sound design was really the thing that stuck out. Um, Risky too, because some people are dumb and don't have their headphones on, or they'll just put like one earbud in. I don't know why they do that, but they can definitely lose a lot of information like that. But yeah, it was the sound design of this trailer was really well done. I will say I don't get a sense of what the game is like through this trailer, so I can't say it's like, is there a type of action in this? We just see this woman feeling emotions about burning people and declaring something, and then the trailer ends. So
Yeah, and this was another one where I considered multiple trailers from the same game. The other trailer does a good job showing off the gameplay, but doesn't really show off the sound design. And the gameplay isn't really anything special. It's a lot of combat and a lot of puzzle solving. So it's really the sound design that's the most important part to get. And this trailer sells that sound design so well.
yes, I don't have much else to say about this. Do you?
Yeah, I've said my piece here. So
Peace. All right, moving on to my number 3. It came from it's the Assassin's Creed Unity E3 2014 World Premiere Cinematic Trailer. That's the full title. Now, Assassin's Creed, there's a cinematic trailer for most of their games, and they're all pretty good. But the reason why I chose this one specifically is that this is the one I remember the most. I believe it's the first one that I saw. It's the first one that got me intrigued about Assassin's Creed, made me go and look at the game trailers, look at the gameplay and stuff. I like the music in this one. It's what is the song, Matthew?
yeah, this is Lord's cover of "Everybody Wants to Rule the World."
This was the first time I heard this song before, and so I felt that it was a cool visuals that match the song. This is the French Revolution, which was not something that Assassin's Creed had been before. They had been more Italian, more other stuff. And here we're in the French. Looks like we're in giant crowds. The French Revolution. The real selling point for this was, hey, we're in the French Revolution with all these crowds. We're gonna push the game to have these large crowd scenes, which they did. They pushed it a little too far because the game couldn't handle it. And also, this is co-op, and which was something that people thought was going to be better and more essential to the game, but it was not. So all the co-op stuff, the missions, we weren't able to see in the normal story. The game itself, when it came out, I don't know if it lived up to the hype. It's a great story, but it was a very glitchy first launch. The game wasn't fully finished, which was a shame because this could have been one of the best. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played this particular Assassin's Creed game, but I have played a little bit of Black Flag. And this trailer seems to do a decent job showing off the sort of gameplay of Assassin's Creed in general.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, selling a more co-op element to it. I the big takeaway for me from this trailer, besides the song, which I love the song in general, but I also thought that it was kind of funny that both because it's the French Revolution and I think because the visual style is very similar. It reminded me a bit of the 2012 Les Mis musical. So it was amusing to imagine the assassins breaking into song. Yeah, but it was
joining the revolution.
Yeah, it was a fun little cinematic trailer. Doesn't really show off any of the gameplay, which may be why the actual game didn't quite live up to it.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, it showed off like new gadgets and weapons. It was really pushing the Unite. You get to play with and play levels with these multiple assassins, which you don't actually get to do that in the game, which is really sad. But yeah, it was just a cool world setup that they were trying to do here, and that really hooked a lot of people in. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this one.
Okay, yeah. My number 2 trailer is the E3 2018 trailer for Death Stranding. This is another game where I considered quite a few of the trailers. I actually think all of the trailers are really interesting in their own right.
Yeah, that's for sure.
This is a completely normal game, not complicated at all. There's no weird things going on in the story or anything. Just all makes sense, and this trailer demonstrates that. I'm being a little bit facetious.
Sure,
This
sure
is
it does.
this is somehow the most sensical trailer for the game, and yet it is still impossible to figure out what exactly is going on.
I still don't understand what the game is
Yeah,
about, and they played it many times.
yeah, and I've played the game, and it's you learn a little bit more, but it is even more confusing than this trailer makes it seem. Um, but what I love about this trailer, it is a very long trailer. It's 8 minutes and 21 seconds,
And
and
also showing off the first glimpses of gameplay,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is just moving around environments, not really fighting or anything.
yeah, and that's actually this is one of those games that I know a lot of people dislike, but I actually really loved it. And that's one of the things I love about the trailer is that it shows off this gameplay, which a lot of it is just walking and kind of vibing with things and exploring nature and just kind of seeing these beautiful vistas while you deliver these packages. And then the other thing I love about the trailer is this sort of middle section, which is a cutscene from the game, um, where we see Norman Reedus's character and Lea Seydoux' character sort of hiding from this invisible creature. And it shows off one of the other strengths of the game, which is its cutscenes and its performances. It's a weird game. It goes into a lot of weird places. There's a lot of names to remember and concepts to try
Yeah.
and grapple with. But what really stands out is these performances. Even though it's digital performances, these actors are still putting their all into it and really selling the humanity of these characters. And I think this trailer does a great job showing that off. In a way that the other trailers for the games maybe overcomplicate things.
I
Which
mean, I remember the first reveal trailer with this one. Like, people are excited for another Kojima game, but like, this was just weird. It's like, oh, like, you got this man, Norman Reedus, cool. He's giving birth. Okay, the baby disappeared. Okay, now we're looking in the sky with these weird black men. Okay, Death
yeah,
Stranding.
yeah, it's an odd game, but it's also a very profound game. It's maybe more odd than it needs to be,
Mm.
but I really the core gameplay of it is just I know a lot of people don't find it fun, but people sort of call it a walking simulator as like a dig against it, but I just love walking around the world and trying to traverse, and the combat of the game is my least favorite part of it. And then just seeing the characters and this sort of first taste of what the cutscenes are going to be like.
Mm.
And later trailers introduce more of the cast, which is like an incredibly stacked cast of actors, and then you also have special appearances by two film directors, Guillermo del Toro and Nicholas Winding Refn, who don't actually play their characters, but they sort of gave their likenesses to the game. And then you have different sort of people, famous celebrities, and people showing up in small roles in the game. But yeah, this trailer does, I think, a phenomenal job showing what the game is and how slow it is and how much it sort of ponders its ideas, and then also how weird it is.
Weird is the word I would choose. Yes. Um, I still don't understand Death Stranding, but it is a game.
Yep. It is a game, ostensibly. It is very cutscene heavy, I will say.
Gotcha. Understood. anything else.
Go and give Death Stranding a try. It's you gotta vibe with it. That's the key.
All right. So moving on to my number 2. My number 2 is the Batman Arkham Origins cinematic trailer. This came out for E3 2013. And before the trailer came out, I had no idea this game was coming out. I think we had ideas, but then the trailer came out and it was like, cool. Nobody knew that this was going to be about a younger Batman. But yeah, this trailer really shows off like Batman. Oh, he's in the darkness getting these people. Then we get to see Deathstroke and have this cool battle. It's in the snow. It's probably one of my favorite trailers in the Arkham series. You got some really cool characters in it. You got some really cool fight scenes. It looks so good. I know everybody wants the studio to just make a movie that looks like this. It'd be super expensive, but it'd be super cool looking. And yeah, this was just a really cool trailer for Batman. And I haven't seen one quite match this level of excitement. We got to see, in this trailer specifically, one of my favorite designs and iterations of Black Mask, even though, spoilers, it's not actually Black Mask, but yeah.
Yeah, this is one that I'd seen before. I haven't actually played the game. I played a bit of the first Arkham game, but long enough ago that I don't remember too much about it. But yeah, this trailer is interesting in sort of setting up the concept of what I assume the game story is about, and then also introducing a few key players in that.
Yeah, and also just showing off like a little of the two types of actions that you'll get. You get the sneaky action and the fighting action. But yeah, I will say that the game is kind of mixed in whether or not it lives up to the trailer. Of course, graphics-wise, it does not. Gameplay-wise, it's a mix. Story-wise, it's a mix, depending on who you ask. But it's still a decent game. But this is still like one of my favorite trailers for the Arkham games, or Batman games in general. Which I want to see another good trailer one day to this level. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah. So on to number 1. For me, I've chosen a game trailer that also happens to be for what is probably my favorite game of all time. I consider it a bit of a tie, but this is the Nintendo Switch presentation 2017 trailer for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This came out in 2017. This is shortly before the release of the actual game. And it's kind of the biggest reveal of what this game actually is. There's a lot of cutscenes and then also some gameplay footage and some stuff about the world. One of the things I love about this is the focus on that world. It's such an important part of the gameplay, just this exploration and, what's over there, what's beyond that mountain, what's at the top of this ridge. And it's always something. And Breath of the Wild, the best thing about it is that it makes exploration fun and easy and just such a natural part of the game. And then the trailer also shows off the scope of the game while also introducing some story elements. It's a bit intentionally misleading on some parts, which I don't mind for a trailer like this. It's Breath of the Wild is not a story-focused game, but this trailer still does a great job getting you hyped for it. And yeah, I was torn between three trailers for this top spot. I also considered the trailer for Twilight Princess and the trailer for the 3DS remake of Majora's Mask, which are all those three are probably my three favorite trailers. But I went with this one because it it does such a great job showing off the game itself, and then also getting you hyped for it when the Zelda theme kicks in at the end of the trailer. It's just like it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, no, I remember when this came out. I don't know if I had as excitement as you do. I still haven't really gone into the world of The Legend of Zelda, so none of the characters really mean much to me. But yeah, no, I get that this was exciting. This was a lot of people's favorites game. Um, the the design of the game was interesting. It's cell shaded.
Yeah, it's definitely a very stylized game. Which makes sense. The Nintendo Switch is not the most powerful console on the market right now, so they take a very specific style, which I think makes it look better than if they tried for realism.
Mm, yeah, yeah, that works. Anything else for you to say?
Yeah, it's a great trailer. So great that the music for it is actually a music option you can get in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate game with the title of this trailer, the Nintendo Switch Presentation 2017 trailer. And I
Mm,
think that's just so cool that this trailer is so iconic in that way.
okay, which means we move on to my number one. So my number one is for Star Wars: The Old Republic. This is the 2009 Deceived cinematic trailer. This was the first teaser for the game The Old Republic, which is an RPG MMO. And I love this one because it shows us Star Wars during this time period that we don't have a lot of visuals for besides Knights of the Old Republic. Um, and what this trailer gives us is a large scale battle of many Sith versus many Jedi, which we hadn't really ever seen visualized before. And it looks so cool. It's like epic, intense. I just love the style. I love the animation, the fighting. This is just really cool to see. The game itself, the graphics don't live up to this, but this was the best looking stuff trailer that I had seen, and I rewatched this one all the time. They made a few more trailers in this one, but this one was my favorite. Um, Again, everyone who watches this really wants them to make a Star Wars show or movie with this Blur, the animation studio. Just it'd be really expensive, but it'd be really cool to see. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting trailer. I haven't played this game either, but I have played a tiny bit of Knights of the Old Republic. It's not a game that has aged the best, so I kind of got to a certain point where I was like, okay, I don't know that I can continue um
Right.
enjoying this. And I did play a different online Star Wars game. I don't remember what it was called though. I'll have to find that later. But yeah, this trailer has a lot of exciting Star Wars iconography in it. That yeah, it's and I assume it's a much more exciting trailer if you know who the characters are and what their stories are.
I mean, even without knowing who the characters are, it was just really cool to see. But you get to know these characters through the games, at least some of them, not the ones who died, of course, and the novels as well. I read the novelized version of this scene specifically, which is very important to the story. Um, Yeah, the game itself doesn't live up to the excitement that you see from this trailer. But what the games, even Knights of the Republic, has is just cool lore. Maybe the visuals don't add up, but the lore is pretty good. And that's what I have to say about this one. It's cool looking. I want more of this kind of stuff. Maybe just like a short film, and that'd be good for me.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see Star Wars try and do a film or even a TV show in this style. I do like the more stylized animation of, say, the Clone Wars, but it would be interesting to see what they could do. And I mean, Star Wars
It'd
has
be
always
really
done,
expensive.
yeah, and they've always done good cinematic trailers, almost
Mhm.
to their detriment. They have more good cinematic trailers than good games or games in general. They do a lot of sort of, let's release a trailer and then never do anything with the game and never release the game. Um, but this is a game that actually came out, so they get points for that at least.
Yeah, at least they got that. Anything else I'm gonna say?
Games are fun.
Games are
It's
fun.
fun looking at the trailers. They could be maybe a bit misleading sometimes, but
They can,
it's
but
it's
like the
fun.
promise of the game is really the most exciting part.
Yeah,
Besides actually playing the good game.
yeah.
And with that said, I don't have much else to say. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.